This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila and Vietnam. Hello, Eliana.
Hi, I'm Eliana Faith Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, giving you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. Rains with gusty winds will be experienced over Batanes and the Babuyan Islands as tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 has been hoisted over these areas, according to PAGASA.
The FDA in Thailand has approved antigen COVID test kits for use at home.
And in Thailand, still, over 20,000 employees from 7 airlines are on the verge of losing their jobs if the ban imposed on domestic flights is prolonged to 3 months without any help.
The Department of Foreign Affairs raised alert level 4 in Myanmar in view of the worsening COVID-19 situation in the country and to ensure the safety and welfare of the remaining Filipinos there.
First, here in the country, rains with gusty winds will be experienced over Batanes and the Babuyan Islands as tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 has been hoisted over these areas, according to PAGASA. Typhoon Fabian has maintained its strength, packing maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 185 kilometers per hour. It was last tracked 530 kilometers northeast of Itbayat, Batanes, moving west-southwest at 10 kilometers per hour. Strong breeze to near gale conditions will be experienced over Batanes and Babuyan Islands throughout the passage of the typhoon, according to PAGASA. Meanwhile, Metro Manila, the Ilocos region, Mimaropa, Benguet, Abra, Zambales, and Babuyan Islands throughout the Pampanga, Tarlac, Bulacan, Cavite, and Batangas will continue to experience monsoon rains. Fabian is also enhancing the southwest monsoon, according to PAGASA.
The Philippines will have a steady supply of COVID-19 vaccines in the next 6 months as the national government has secured 164 million doses through procurement while sourcing additional shots from the Gov't facility and bilateral donations. This was the assurance given by National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chairperson Secretary Delphine Lorenzana and NTF Chief Implementer and Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. during the Pre-State of the Nation Address or SONA Forum participated by member agencies of the Security, Justice, and Peace Cluster on Wednesday. As of July 21, a total of 28,485,130 doses have been delivered out of the 164 million doses secured by the country. Meantime, the private sector and LGUs have procured 7 million doses of Moderna and 17 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines. Around 2 million doses will come from bilateral donations, while 44 million doses have been committed by the COVAX facility. In addition, the Philippine government and COVAX have agreed on a cost-sharing agreement for the procurement of 5 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Meanwhile, Thailand's vaccine director apologized for not getting enough amount of vaccines and that they didn't foresee. They said that they didn't foresee the present coronavirus situation coming up. Thailand on Tuesday placed more than 12 million people under a partial 2-week lockdown due to the rise of COVID cases because of the Delta variant. Here's Jazz Diona for the report, joining us live. Hello, Jazz.
Hello, Alma. Here in Thailand, the director of Thailand's National Vaccine Institute, or NVI, Nakhon Premsri, offered a public apology Wednesday for the slow and insufficient COVID-19 vaccine rollout, adding that mutations of the virus were unforeseen, while also promising that the country will join the COVAX program to receive donated vaccines next year. He admitted that the National Vaccines Institute's mismanagement of securing vaccines for the country is due to the unforeseen situation despite of trying their best. Moreover, he mentioned that mutations of the virus could not be predicted, causing it to spread rapidly than last year. Thailand is still in the process of joining COVAX, a worldwide initiative aimed at providing equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines. COVAX is directed by Gavi, or the Vaccine Alliance, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and the World Health Organization. Dr. Nakhon said that NVI will soon send formal communications to Gavi to initiate negotiations on vaccines to be received. Meanwhile, the U.S. government will be donating 1.5 million doses of Pfizer to Thailand, which is expected to arrive soon. Thailand has received 14.5 million doses of Sinovac, 2 million doses of Sinopharm as donations from China. 9.2 million doses of AstraZeneca has been locally produced by Siam Bioscience. As of now, 5% of the entire population has been fully vaccinated. This update is from Thai PBS. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much. Hopefully you catch up with the vaccination and the number of the doses coming into your country. Thank you for your update and looking forward to more updates coming out of Thailand. Stay safe.
Thank you, Alma, and likewise, reporting live from Thailand, this is Jazz Diona, and we live in interesting times.
The FDA in Thailand has approved antigen COVID test kits for use at home. Here's Veronica Carino to tell us more. Hello, Veronica.
Yes, hello, Eliana. The Thai Food and Drug Administration, or TFDA, has approved and registered 4 antigen COVID-19 test kits for home use, which will be available for purchase and at pharmacies. First, let's listen in.
The rapid spread of COVID has led to increasing demand for tests, resulting in people having to wait long queues for the RT-PCR tests. So in response, the Food and Drug Administration of Thailand approved and registered 4 antigen COVID-19 test kits. Antigen test kits, or in short ATK, for home use. These ATK will be available for purchase at pharmacies or drugstores with in-house pharmacists, as well as hospital staff, to advise on how to properly use and dispose of these test kits. This will help reduce the overcrowding in various testing centers and assist authorities with active testing, early detection, and to take subsequent appropriate measures in case of positive results. So in case of positive results, individuals should enter into immediate isolation and have their tests confirmed by the RT-PCR tests. And of course, the public, when it is available, they are strongly advised to purchase only test kits that are approved by the Food and Drug Administration of Thailand. On the antigen test kits, in addition, the ATK, authorities have been conducting door-to-door missions for the past week already to use these ATKs.
In case of positive results, individuals should enter into immediate isolation and have their test confirmed by RT-PCR tests. People are strongly advised to purchase only the following test kits approved by the TFDA. Biosensor or SD Biosensor Incorporation of Korea, imported by MP Group Thailand, SD Biosensor Incorporation of Korea, imported by Roche Diagnostics Thailand, Shenzhen Kiss Health Biotechnology, imported by General Science Enterprise, Beijing Lepu Medical Technology, imported by Ausland Capital. People would be able to buy the test kits at hospitals, government organizations, and drugstores, with the duty pharmacists who could advise them on proper use and disposals. He warned that people should not buy such test kits from other sources because they could receive substandard products. Those who tested positive with an antigen test kit should contact local health facilities where medical workers could advise home isolation or community isolation. Those who tested negative but were at risk of infection must repeat the antigen test 3 to 5 days later because the level of the virus might be too low to be detected in the first test. Antigen test kits would be available at drugstores, but not at convenience stores. Back to you, Eliana.
Thank you for your updates, Veronica. You always stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, and likewise, Eliana. Reporting live from Thailand, this is Veronica Carino, and we live in interesting times.
Meanwhile, Russia announced that a batch of its Sputnik V vaccine was produced for the first time in Vietnam. That and more. Joining us live is Ralph Wandolph Empire. Hello, Ralph.
Hi there, Alma. That's correct. Vietnam has manufactured the first test batch of COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik V, according to an announcement by Russia's sovereign wealth fund, Russian Direct Investment Fund, or RDIF, and Vietnamese pharmaceutical company Babuyan released on Wednesday. The first samples taken from this batch will be transported to the Gamaleya Center, the Russian research institute that develops the Sputnik V vaccine, for quality control. The vaccines manufactured in Vietnam will be used in the country's national expanded program for immunization, as it is dealing with a severe fourth wave of infections, while the vaccine supply is still limited. Kirill Dmitriev, the CEO of the RDIF, said in the statement that RDIF and Gov't are actively cooperating in the technology transfer process to provide easier access to Sputnik V for the population of Vietnam. Furthermore, as the pandemic is far from over and new, more dangerous variants of coronavirus are being detected in various regions of the world, RDIF is increasing capacities for production of Sputnik V to speed up the vaccination with one of the best vaccines in the world. In other news, Alma, Vietnam's Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh talked over the phone with Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday, affirming that the archipelago nation is always an important and trustworthy partner that shares many concerns and strategic interests with Vietnam. President Duterte said the Philippines has consistently treasured and worked to develop the country's strategic partnership, and that they appreciate Vietnam's meaningful assistance in the recent past, including the medical supplies for the fight against COVID-19. The Prime Minister Chinh highlighted Vietnam's readiness to continue ensuring stable and long-term rice supply for the Philippines, asking the latter to further open its market to food and agricultural products from Vietnam. They also shared the view that vaccine is an important strategy to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and work towards sustainable socioeconomic recovery. Both leaders agreed that their countries will strengthen ties and support each other at multilateral mechanisms like the United Nations and ASEAN. They saw eye to eye on the importance of maintaining ASEAN's solidarity and principles relevant to the East Sea issue. They affirmed the close coordination of their stances and viewpoints to ensure the full and effective implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, or DOC, and accelerate the negotiation between ASEAN and China on an effective and substantive Code of Conduct, or COC, that accords with international law and the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. On this occasion, President Duterte has invited Prime Minister Chinh to pay an official visit to the Philippines. For the COVID-19 update here in Vietnam, the Ministry of Health announced there are 2,965 more COVID-19 community transmissions on Thursday morning, raising the ongoing coronavirus waves tally to 67,422. Of the new patients, 2,433 were reported in Ho Chi Minh City. The other patients were detected in other 15 provinces and municipalities. Of all the morning tally, 2,784 patients were found in quarantine zones and areas under lockdown, and the rest in the community. Ho Chi Minh City continues to account for the most cases, 43,776. Ever since the pandemic started early last year, Vietnam has registered 71,144 COVID-19 cases, comprising 69,043 community infections and 2,101 imported cases. It has vaccinated more than 4.36 million or 4.5% of the population against the new coronavirus, but only 324,955 have received 2 doses. And that's the latest here in Vietnam. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you, Ralph. Stay safe.
Likewise, Alma reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam. I am Ralph, Bundle of N5 Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Singapore faces a real risk of accelerated COVID-19 transmission within the community, with more cases expected from the Jurong Fishery Port as well as market and food center clusters. Our return to Phase 2 heightened alert measures will help avoid a sharp rise in infections. Here's co-chairman of the Multi-Ministry Task Force, Minister Lawrence Wong.
In our last update, we were dealing with the KTV cluster, and we highlighted then that this was a major setback to our reopening plans. Unfortunately, the situation is now more serious than we had realized then. As you have heard just now from my co-chairs and DMS, we are not just dealing with the KTV cluster alone, but we now also have a very large cluster from the Jurong Fishery Port, which has spilled over to many markets and food centers all over Singapore. We are at a point where there is a very real risk of accelerated transmission all over the community. And the current trajectory of infection would suggest that if we were to continue with our current posture, we will see a sharp increase in infections and many people will catch the virus. While we have made good progress on vaccinations, we also know that there are still significant groups who are not vaccinated, including seniors. And therefore, we are very concerned that if they were to catch the virus, many people, many of our seniors will fall sick and will become severely ill. That is our big concern. And that's why after such careful deliberation, we've decided that we have to make this preemptive tightening so that we can cut back on our overall activity levels and slow down the transmission. The objective is to buy us time so that we can vaccinate more people, especially our seniors, and also for those who have been vaccinated with their first dose to rebook their appointments and complete their vaccination regime. So we will adopt measures similar to what we had previously under Phase 2 heightened alert. And these measures will take effect for 1 month from 22nd of July to 18th of August. The general message to everyone under Phase 2 heightened alert is please stay home, minimize your movement and social interactions as much as you can.
The government will be suspending dining in and reducing group sizes for social gatherings back down to 2 as Singapore returns to Phase 2 heightened alert. There will be a reduction of group sizes from 5 to 2 people. There will also be a cap of 2 distinct visitors per household per day, and people should limit their social gatherings to no more than 2 a day. All food and beverage establishments are only allowed to offer takeaway and delivery options from Thursday. The task force added that other mask-off activities such as indoor exercise classes or individual and group indoor sports and exercise activities will also be halted. This also means that any services or activities that require masks to be off, such as facials, saunas, and the playing of wind or brass instruments, will not be allowed. That said, weddings, receptions will be allowed to continue, but with only up to 100 people and with pre-event testing. This is down from 250 individuals.
Back here in the country, Davao City Vice Mayor and presidential son Sebastian Duterte has tested positive for COVID-19, according to his sister Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte. And this was revealed in a Facebook post. Take a look. Now, Mayor Duterte shared the screenshot of their family video call with a caption wishing her brother well. The post shows a photo of members of their family talking with each other. Mayor Duterte, Davao City Representative Paulo Duterte, Davao City Vice Mayor Sebastian Duterte, and their father, President Duterte, and their mother, Elizabeth Zimmerman.
Prime Minister Hun Sen sent a message on July 19 expressing condolences to German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the German people after flooding killed hundreds there and left thousands more missing. I am deeply grieved by the news about the massive flooding that hit Western Germany on July 15, which has claimed the lives of more than 100 people and injured many others, while thousands are still missing, the message read. He said, while standing in solidarity with our friends, the German people in this difficult time, I would like to extend my sincere condolences to the bereaved families for the loss of their loved ones, and my best wishes for a speedy recovery and resilience to those who have been injured, and a timely rescue for those who remain missing. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Prak Sokhon also sent a condolence letter to his German counterpart Heiko Maas. A week into the region's worst flooding disaster in living memory, which has killed at least 174 in Germany and 32 more Belgium, the right-left German Grand Coalition government unlocked some 400 million euros or $470 million in immediate relief.
And ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Please stay tuned.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization, startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Samahan sina Wedge Kujamat,
itong balitang panggising sa ulo ng mga balita.
Apple David,
Sa 60 katao ang isinugod sa ospital.
Phoebe Publico,
Economic sabotage ang mga tiwaling negosyante.
at Cristel Fesalbon
Pagpresyo ng gulay, makakausap natin
para iatid sa inyo ang mga kaganapan at pangyayari sa bansa at sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, mga napapanahong isyu ng bayan. May balitang sports, entertainment at iba pang kaalaman. Simula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng umaga sa paborito niyong morning show, Pambansang Almusal, dito sa Net 25.
Pambansang Almusal.
Welcome back. On July 19, the Kingdom of Cambodia dispatched nearly 10 tons of medical supplies via Cambodia Airways to Vietnam. This is in a spirit of solidarity to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Take a look. The national flag carrier said the items were packed into 1,125 cartons and shipped on an Airbus A320 aircraft. From Phnom Penh to Ho Chi Minh City, the logistics of the consignment were arranged by the Ministry of Health Secretary of State, York Sambath. The medical supplies delivered by Cambodia Airways included 1 million face masks, along with 100,000 N95 masks and 100 oxygen concentrators. Besides medical supplies, the Cambodian government donated $200,000 and Cambodian Red Cross President Ban Rani Hun Sen provided another $100,000 US. Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association or VCFA President Men Sam also donated $50,000 from the VCFA through the Vietnamese embassy in Phnom Penh to help fight COVID-19 in Vietnam. Prime Minister Hun Sen emphasized that the assistance was an expression of the spirit of cooperation and solidarity between friendly neighboring countries as they fight against COVID-19 together.
A total of 562,770 out of the 40 million doses of Pfizer vaccine purchased by the government finally arrived in the country on Wednesday, the bulk of which will be allocated to areas in the national capital region, plus 8 that are capable of storing the sensitive shot. Let's take a look.
Babagsakan ito yung mga LGUs na nakita natin na qualified na merong cold chain solution. So majority nito ay mapunta sa NCR plus 8 and also the LGUs that have the training and the cold chain solution. With the arrival of Pfizer, I believe their requirement of having 130,000 per month and also for seafarers 30,000 per month, we can now accommodate. Send a lot of vaccines to Davao, to the different LGUs, and we have already coordinating with them that the priority on the quota that we have given to them allocation are the seafarers and the OFWs.
Pfizer is scheduled to ship more doses on July 26 and August 3 to complete the initial 1.4 million it committed to deliver as soon as possible. While he is confident that the 40 million doses they ordered will arrive within the year, Gov't said there is no timeline yet as to when specific deliveries will be made. The NCR plus 8 is composed of Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Pampanga, Batangas, Rizal, Bulacan, Metro Davao, and Metro Cebu.
Meanwhile, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez also said that this latest batch might not be downloaded to Muntinlupa after the city encountered a storage issue that compelled them to discard an unknown amount of jabs. Take a look.
Babagsakan ito yung mga LGUs na nakita natin na qualified na merong cold chain solution. So majority nito ay mapunta sa NCR plus 8 and also the LGUs that have the training and the cold chain solution. With the arrival of Pfizer, I believe their requirement of having 130,000 per month and also for seafarers 30,000 per month, we can now accommodate. Send a lot of vaccines to Davao, to the different LGUs, and we have already coordinating with them that the priority on the quota that we have given to them allocation are the seafarers and the OFWs.
Now, Galvez did not confirm if the shots reportedly discarded were manufactured by Pfizer, saying the national government is still waiting for the investigation's results. In a statement on July 17, Muntinlupa said this occurred at the Festival Mall vaccination site, but assured the incident was isolated.
Traveling individuals who belong to the same household, especially families with minors, are allowed to share a room when undergoing quarantine in hotels, the Department of Tourism said on Thursday. Tourism Chief Bernadette Romulo Puyat said the agency received reports that some DOT-accredited establishments operating as quarantine hotels have been implementing a one-room, one-person policy even for travelers coming from the same household. Based on DOT Administrative Order Number 2021-004A, single occupancy is required for quarantine guests from different households. But DOT said room sharing is encouraged for quarantine guests belonging to the same household and guests requiring a companion, such as minors, persons with disabilities, senior citizens, or as may be prescribed by the Department of Health or the Bureau of Quarantine. The agency noted that the administrative order was issued with the approval of the DOH and the BOQ and acknowledged by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases.
Interior Secretary Eduardo Año assured that the local government units and the Philippine National Police Force will enforce all laws, ordinances, omnibus guidelines, and community quarantine protocols to keep the people safe from possible local transmission of the more contagious Delta variant of COVID-19. Take a look.
At dahil hindi kayang tukuyin ng ordinaryong test kits at kailangan ng genome sequencing, maaaring mas malaki pa ang bilang ng may dala ng variant na ito sa ngayon. Kaya nangangailangan ng mas matinding pag-iingat ang lahat. Sa susunod ng mga araw ay maglalabas ang DILG ng memorandum upang paalalahanan ng ating local government units na maganda sa lalong madaling panahon ng mga estratehiya sa posibleng local transmission ng COVID Delta variant.
He also said border control, especially in the international airports and seaports, will be intensified. Local chief executives will lead the aggressive mass vaccination and faster testing, tracing, contact tracing, and isolation of patients infected with the virus. Through Operation Listo or Operation Awareness, the protocol for the management of emerging infectious diseases, Año said there will be an increased number of quarantine and isolation and healthcare facilities. Año said the country has so far recorded 36 Delta variant cases with 2 deaths.
The World Health Organization said today the highly contagious Delta variant of COVID-19 is expected to become the dominant strain of the virus over the coming months. Delta, which was first detected in India, has now been recorded in 124 territories, 13 more than last week, and already accounts for more than 3/4 of sequenced specimens in major countries, the WHO said. Of the 3 other coronavirus variants of concern, or the VOCs, Alpha, first detected in Britain, has been reported in 180 territories, up 6 from last week. Beta, first detected in South Africa in 130, up 7. And Gamma, first detected in Brazil in 78, up 3. According to SARS-CoV-2 sequences submitted to the GSED Global Science Initiative over the 4 weeks to July 20, the prevalence of Delta exceeded 75% in several countries. Those included Australia, Bangladesh, Botswana, Britain, China, Denmark, India, Indonesia, Israel, Portugal, Russia, Singapore, and South Africa. The Geneva-based organization said overall 3.4 million new COVID-19 cases were reported in the week to July 18, up 12% on the week before.
In other news, back here in the country, President Duterte need not seek immunity from lawsuits since he didn't commit any wrongdoing. That according to Malacanang yesterday. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said President Duterte had merely raised the fact that a president and a vice president can gain immunity from suits. He added that the president's recent statement was even similar to the previous remarks of his critics, including Senator Leila de Lima and election lawyer Romulo Romy Macalintal. Take a look.
Sa tanong na may immunity po ba ang Vice Presidente sa mga lawsuit, hindi po bagong issue nito, no? Kung inyong matatandaan na tanong din ito sa panahon ni VP Jojo Binay. Malinaw po ang personal kong paninindigan dito. Ang presidential immunity from suit po ay sang-ayon sa jurisprudence. Bagamat wala pa pong jurisprudence pagdating sa Vice President, siguro po magkakaroon ng pagkakataon na magkaroon ng linaw itong isyong ito kung dadalhin sa Korte Suprema. Pero magugulat po kayo na ang nagsabi na mayroong immunity ang Vice President ay walang iba kung hindi ang number one kritiko ng ating Presidente, si dating Justice Secretary Leila de Lima. Lumabas po ito sa pahayagang Rappler noong July 7, 2015. Ang sabi po niya, the Constitution states that impeachable officials shall not be removed from office except by impeachment. It does not say categorically to what extent they may be subject to prosecution without their impeachability being affected. Theoretically, they can be subject to criminal proceedings as long as they are not removed from office, such as what the Supreme Court has done with the commissioners of the COMELEC in several cases when it cited said commissioners in criminal contempt. So ang paninindigan po ni Leila de Lima, binago pa nga niya ang position po niya, ay meron daw immunity ang Vice President. Ganun din po ang opinion ng election lawyer na si Romulo Macalintal na kung maalala ninyo ay tumakbo bilang sa partido ng Dilawan, no? At lumabas po ito sa kanyang Philippine Star noong October 15, 2014. Ang sabi po niya, yung dating Vice President Binay, just like the President and all constitutional officials, is covered by immunity from suit, meaning he cannot be charged in court under the normal procedure of trial. Kaya inuulit ko po ang aking unang nasabi, let this be an opportunity to provoke jurisprudence.
The Department of Foreign Affairs raised alert level 4 in Myanmar in view of the worsening COVID-19 situation in the country and to ensure the safety and welfare of the remaining Filipinos there. Under alert level 4, the Department of Foreign Affairs strongly recommends that Filipinos leave Myanmar as soon as possible, as the healthcare system in the country is close to reaching its maximum capacity and may not be able to provide adequate medical attention to Filipinos who become ill in the coming weeks. Filipinos may contact the Philippine Embassy in Myanmar for evacuation flight options. The advisory further states that for their own safety, Filipinos will not be allowed to return to Myanmar while alert level 4 remains. While waiting to be evacuated, the department advises Filipinos to exercise extreme caution and to only leave their residences when absolutely necessary, such as for buying food and other supplies. Filipinos are advised to regularly check with the Philippine Embassy in Yangon for further advisories. ASEAN in Focus will be back after a short break.
Ilang taon na tayo sa mundo, nakasulat na ba to sa libro? Ano mang dulo, ikaw at ako.
Hi guys! Ako po si CJ Novato at abangan niyo po ako bilang guest performer sa Letters and Music 1 to 2 p.m. Syempre, dito lang sa Net25. See you po!
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. Asia markets rallied Thursday as worries about the Delta variant were overshadowed by more strong earnings reports that indicated companies were faring well as the global economy emerges from last year's pandemic-induced collapse. After a painful start to the week, investors were back in the saddle after Wall Street and Europe enjoyed back-to-back rallies thanks to optimism about the outlook. And despite surging infections that have forced some governments to reimpose lockdowns or other containment measures. Confidence in the long-term recovery has been fortified by data showing that while even fully vaccinated people have become infected with the new strain of COVID, such as in the United States and Britain, hospitalization and death rates among those people have remained relatively low, suggesting the drugs are working. All three main indexes in New York enjoyed healthy gains, while London, Paris, and Frankfurt jumped more than 1% for a second day running. And Asia extended the rally, with Hong Kong leading the way by climbing 1.8%, while Singapore, Seoul, Jakarta, and Manila also put on more than 1%. There were also gains in Shanghai, Sydney, and Taipei. Tokyo was closed for a holiday.
Staying in the country, the Department of Finance and the Bureau of Internal Revenue have agreed to suspend the implementation of Revenue Regulation, or RR9 2021, which imposed 12% value-added tax on certain exporter transactions that were previously taxed at 0%, according to the House lender announcing it today. The suspension of the BIR regulation comes after a briefing facilitated by the House Ways and Means Committee on Wednesday with concerned government agencies and stakeholders. Albay Representative Joey Salceda, committee chair, expressed gratitude to Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III for this decision, as it will help the country's export industry get the breather it needs to recover. With the decision to suspend, the following transactions will revert to their zero-rated status: the sale of raw materials or packaging materials to a non-resident buyer for delivery to a local export-oriented enterprise, the sale of raw materials or packaging materials to export-oriented enterprise whose export sales exceed 70% of total annual production, those considered export sales under Executive Order Number 226 or the Omnibus Investment Code of 1987 and other special laws, as the processing, manufacturing, or repacking goods of other persons doing business outside the Philippines, which goods are subsequently exported, and services performed by subcontractors and or contractors in processing, converting, or manufacturing goods for an enterprise whose export sales exceed 70% of total annual production. Salceda said the DOF will implement the provision of the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprise, or create law which allows exporters to enjoy VAT zero rating on local purchases of goods and services directly and exclusively used in its registered project or activity. Over 20,000 employees from 7 airlines are on the verge of losing their jobs if the ban imposed on domestic flights in Thailand is prolonged to 3 months without any help from the long-awaited 5 million baht soft loan from the government. That is according to the Airlines Association of Thailand, or AAT. According to a Bangkok Post report, AAT President Putipong Parastrong Osot said the aviation industry in Thailand is facing a critical downturn since the pandemic last year, with passenger numbers decreasing by 64.7% in 2020. The ban imposed in Bangkok, the country's aviation hub, means 7 airlines have had to ground 170 airplanes without a new flow of income, but still have to bear the monthly cost of payroll of around 900 million baht as in the past 17 months, according to Satisuk Klongchaya, Chief Executive of Thai Air Asia. Waranate Labrabang, Chief Executive of Thai Vietjet, said in the worst-case scenario, if the country needs to cease air travel to control the virus situation for 3 months, every airline in the country will collapse. AAT was formed last year under the cooperation of 7 airlines in Thailand, excluding Thai Airways International, but compromising Bangkok Airways, Thai Air Asia, Nok Air, Thai Lion Air, Thai Vietjet, Thai Smile Airways, and Thai Air Asia X. A request on the soft loan is one of the priority tasks for the association to help airlines battle the pandemic. Now, it may be a state of emergency in Japan, but it's business as usual inside the athletes' village of the Summer Olympic Games. Take a look. Team Philippines physician Dr. Randy Molo of the Philippine Sports Commission's Medical and Sports Science Unit revealed this to reporters during breakfast at the Conrad Tokyo Secretariat headquarters of the delegation. The athletes approach each day as a regular one, but they don't let their guards down, according to Mr. Molo in a news release on Wednesday. Mr. Molo said athletes go about their businesses with guarded optimism inside the 44-hectare athletes' village located in Tokyo's Harumi Waterfront District. The athletes have everything they need inside the village, from 48,000 kinds of meals to choose from to massage therapists that can be arranged online. The most fun from among the 14 Filipino athletes staying inside the village is skateboarder Marjolene Didal, who goes around the facility using her skateboard. Athlete officials and coaches numbering 6,700 inside the village undergo saliva testing for COVID-19 daily. He also said that Irish Magno is back to her training as if nothing happened after the boxer suffered a soft tissue contusion during her skip rope training session. Olympic organizers are hoping the village can be a COVID-free bubble following the release of their so-called playbook rules on how athletes should move between competition venues, training centers, and their accommodation. But this has not been the case after 5 COVID-19 cases were discovered in the village. 2 South African footballers, a video analyst, a Czech beach volleyball, and a Czech Olympic staff member.
For Philippine Sports Commission or PSC Chairman William Ramirez, 3 times could be a charm. Ramirez owns the distinction as the only chairperson since the PSC's establishment in 1990 to be at the helm of the sports agency in 3 Olympics, his first in Beijing 2008, followed by Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and now Tokyo 2020 plus 1. I always say Olympic success is more than just a year of preparation, said Ramirez 2 days before he and Chief of Staff Mark Velasco will fly to Tokyo aboard Philippine Airlines on Thursday. Ramirez's Olympic journey matches weightlifter Heidelin Diaz's Games 30. Then 18 years old, Diaz made her Olympic debut in Beijing as a wild card in the women's 58-kilogram class. So young and so innocent on the Olympic stage then. She didn't make the podium nor get close to it, but the prize of Zamboanga City reaped the experience she needed. London 2012 wasn't Diaz's time then, but came 2016 in Rio, and she brought home a silver medal. Diaz and 18 other Filipinos are competing in 11 sports in Tokyo, and Ramirez believes all of them have the potential to win the country's first Olympic gold medal, or perhaps even more.
Thank you, Eliana, for joining me today and keeping me company.
Thank you, Alma. I'd just like to greet my Lolo who's celebrating his birthday. Happy 75th birthday po, Lolo.
Happy birthday, Lolo. He's watching right now?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Alma. Once again, I'm Eliana Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, bringing you the news in the ASEAN region. We live in interesting times.
And that's it for today's broadcast. We'll see you back tomorrow here on ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.